Hello, viewer. Welcome to Women's View. My name is Anne Moremi. I'm your host. It's a pleasure to have you with us once more. Remember that you can connect with us on social media. We're on YouTube. We're also on Facebook, and we have an SMS line. The number is 21144. Today we have a very interesting guest in studio, and we're going to be looking at part 2 of the effects of alcoholism in our society. Last time when we were here, we looked at how alcoholism affects women, and there's a double burden when it comes to women, you know, because the society tends to think that women should not be alcoholic. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of women are struggling with alcoholics and also with alcoholism, same as men. So in studio, I have a guest, and I want to give him an opportunity to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about himself. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Anne. Thanks for having me. My name is David Ogot. I am the founder of the GoingHome.com Trust, which also runs every year National Alcohol Awareness Month in October. And this year the theme is female alcoholics fighting the double stigma through fashion. So I am the national coordinator for the National Alcohol Awareness Month, though there's a different director for the beauty pageant, which started last year. And that's why this year we're using fashion. And as you rightly said, there's a double stigma. Yes. Actually, it's more than double. We just use double on when the alcoholic is female.
Yes.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about GoingHome.com, because that's a very interesting name. What is the thinking behind, why did you call your organization Going Home? Where is home and where are we coming from?
Okay.
And,
home is sobriety. I'm a recovering alcoholic myself.
Okay.
Though I used several drugs, but mainly alcohol and tobacco.
Okay.
And when I finally, my parents, including my late mom, my mom passed in 2015. When they tried all manner of help, including finally a witch doctor.
Oh, that was an option as well. You know, when things get desperate, you know. Even Christians, and I'm sure, you know.
There's an aunt of mine also, my mom's older sister, also the late, who said, but we're Christians. You know, my dad had called a clan meeting, every relative he could think of, to suggest something which has not been tried.
Yes.
And most things had actually been, in fact, everything they tried had been tried severally.
So did you
once.
Did you have to get a black chicken and carry it and slaughter it and drop the blood?
A lot of crazy stuff. In fact, I was taken there at night, and I actually at one point blacked this stuff out. I suppressed it. Yeah. And I remember like 3 years after I left rehab, 3 or 4 years after I now left a proper rehab, and then my wife, I don't know what we were talking about, so my wife just mentioned, and remember even now that desperation, they took you to the witch doctor and asked her, which witch doctor? Are you crazy? Me? When did I go? And she thought I was joking, you know? And then I actually called my mom. And my mom said yes, and I didn't believe. So I called my dad. Then when I was talking to my dad, something just clicked in my head, and it all came back.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of...
You'd really suppressed it, which means that it was traumatic.
It was traumatic. It was very traumatic. In
Yeah.
fact, I ended up taking off after some days in the dead of the night. And you know, you're brought at night. You don't know where you are, intentionally.
Yes.
So it was a crazy experience. So now they gave up after that.
Okay.
So when I left rehab finally, after about, I think, you know, I went to talk to my parents about going public, because they were public figures, and my kids are in school, and you know how kids are innocent, so they can end up being very nasty.
Exactly.
You know, your dad's Amlevi, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So I went kind of to seek permission / blessing.
Yes.
So my mom said, you know, David, you've been going home for a very long time. I think this time you are finally there. Because I think that was the longest she had seen me sober.
Okay.
There were certain times I would come out of rehab and go straight to the bar with my bag. You know? Immediately with my bag, round the corner. But those weren't proper rehabs. Now we came to find out. People have opened all manner of things under the name of rehab. That's why So she said, yeah, you've been going home for a very long time. I didn't have a name. Actually, I did not plan to open an office. My background is media. So I was just going to go on TV, write articles, make documentaries, blah, 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 and you know, put them out there.
Yes.
Then one thing, you're on a show, somebody calls, you need somewhere to sit. Then I'm also buying books, so that's how the library started, etc. And that's how we ended up with the office. So the going home bit was, we're trying to get everybody home.
Yeah, home is sobriety.
Sobriety, of course, when we all pass, we'll all go home.
Exactly, of course.
So
Heaven.
Yeah, heaven.
Yeah.
So that was then the .com was, at that time, the younger generation were called the .com
Yes.
generation. Then stuff we were using, which had just come out, these digital cameras and all this stuff,
Yes.
.com equipment. So that's where and
Going
doing
home.com.
doing the website and internet and
Yes.
whatever. In fact, I taught myself web design after I left rehab. Because actually when I left, I was one of those guys even sending an email. I want to do an attachment. I have to.
I know. Put up your hand and call everybody because
how do
promotion.
I attach? Yeah, I've been shown 100 times, and I felt, a computer, if you touch the wrong button, it will explode.
I do.
So that's where the goinghome.com came from.
Okay.
So we then registered.
Oh.
The goinghome.com was there from 2001. In fact, I started immediately. I left rehab.
Yes.
And then we did the formal registration as a trust in 2004.
Ah, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting story. So this month also, November, is the month where we basically focus a lot on domestic violence. And I know that there is a linkage between alcoholism and domestic violence. Does it make it worse, or does it even cause, does alcoholism make domestic violence worse, or does it actually even cause it?
It makes it worse where it's there, and in many instances, it causes it. There's many jokes about guys
Yes.
drunk, and people will laugh.
Yes.
There are literally no jokes about females
Drunk.
drunk, because they're not funny. First, we think of our mothers. That's the first thing.
Yes.
Then followed by all the other females in our lives, our wives,
Yeah, our
sisters,
sisters.
daughters. You see, so it's just not funny.
Somehow you don't want them to get into that
Yeah,
box.
because of that picture. Again, we go
Yes.
back to stigma.
Yes.
That picture, that's why even the alcoholic doesn't want to agree they are alcoholic, because of the picture which is out there of an alcoholic, and that's what causes the stigma. And that's why stigma is actually the biggest prevention to people getting help, starting with the family hiding
Yes.
their person. So where this person is female, they hide them even more.
Even more.
Even more.
Yeah.
Because as a guy, I don't want to be told my wife is there with other guys
I know, in the bar.
in a bar.
In the wee hours of the night,
Yes.
she's fallen into something.
So my imagination goes in so many directions.
Yeah.
And many times she's just drinking.
Yeah, you know.
She's alcoholic. She's just drinking and laughing, but you see that kind of atmosphere.
The setup,
You think other things.
Yes.
And so the violence starts. Why can't you stop? It can be the husband is not drinking, or the husband is a social drinker,
Yes.
which means they can drink without problems to
Yeah.
themselves
They can
or
drink and
others.
stop.
Yes. Essentially drinking without problems to yourself or others.
Okay.
And then it's coming, why did you do this? Why? So the violence then starts, because you are threatening my ego. Guys are laughing. What kind of a man are you? Your wife is out there drinking with funny guys. You don't know and people will add doing
She's
other
being
things.
dropped home in the wee hours of the morning
Yes,
by
guys.
men.
Yes,
Yeah.
a car full of men, etc. So the violence starts, neglecting things
Exactly.
in the house if there are kids involved.
Yeah.
and
It's actually spirals.
Yes. And usually you'll find in many houses, homes,
Yes.
where the husband is drinking, the home will run.
It will run because the woman is there to
Yes.
ensure that
Yes.
it runs.
If I
The few
remember,
hiccups
even
maybe.
in my case, where my wife would handle things, so she now becomes literally Baba and Mama.
She becomes everything,
Yes.
actually. Yeah. Because what you're neglecting,
Yes.
she takes up.
Yes.
You know?
But where the wife is the alcoholic,
Oh, yeah.
then there's a lot of problems,
Yes.
including the violence. So somebody feels maybe I can beat this out of
And it's
her.
very interesting because actually now what you're talking about is violence, domestic violence, to the alcoholic.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
a lot of times when we talk about domestic violence, we're thinking that it is the alcoholic who is perpetrating it.
No.
But no,
No.
it's actually being
Yes.
done to
Yes.
them as a
Yes.
way, as a solution to
Yeah.
get them out of their problem, which
Yes.
of course does not work.
And the alcoholic can also perpetrate, the female,
Yes,
because any time you're drunk,
yes,
and this happens to whether you're alcoholic or not alcoholic, but you've taken excess of any drug,
yes,
and you are not in control of your senses.
yes.
So the husband might say something, and she reacts by punching his chest or whatever, or slapping him or whatever, in front of maybe the same guys who have dropped her. He's asking, who are these?
Exactly, of
Okay.
course, yes.
And who are you to ask me? See, I've said they're my friends.
Yeah.
And he says something and he gets a slap and he's going to react.
Exactly.
Even a very passive person, as I said, you are threatening my ego,
Yes.
my very manhood itself.
Yes,
And so I will react without thinking in the emotion of the moment. I might be apologetic later.
yes,
There's violence now, not even coming from the spouse, but these same men. Somebody has bought you drinks. They might be expecting
that you do the
something
same.
else. And,
That you
to
return the
pay.
favor.
Yes. And your head was not there.
Yeah.
You thought you were just buying me drinks. We're buddies. When I have money, I buy for you.
When,
You
and
see?
vice versa,
And
yes.
then that leads to violence
Even
against the
sexual
alcoholic
violence, yeah.
there, sexual violence, etc. Coming home, now the guy keeps wondering, have you been raped? Did people take advantage of you when you're out of your senses?
You can't remember because, because your mind was partly depressed, so
yes.
you can't even remember the
Yes.
details of what happened.
Yes. Sometimes they've actually dropped drugs in your drink, you passed out,
Yeah.
they've taken advantage of you, you have no memory.
Yeah.
And so this guy is there trying to deal with all this, and nothing seems to be working.
Yeah.
So the violence again
It comes
crops up.
Yeah.
The kids, you've gone, maybe their friends see you somewhere, they start laughing at your kids
Yes.
in school. The kids are fighting with other kids, then come to fight with you, especially when you come home.
They
in
start
that
telling
state.
you that this is
Yes.
you're giving us a poor image
Yes.
out there.
Yeah. So the older kids, especially the male
Yes.
kids, will end up sometimes fighting with the mother.
Fighting with the mother.
Yes. So
yeah.
again, it's coming from the relatives of the husband will also come in. You're bringing shame.
Yeah, you bring shame to the family.
family.
Yeah. Somehow society is very biased against women. It's like
Yes.
women,
Yes.
I don't know, they're supposed to not go through these challenges, or if they do, they should have other ways of dealing, because sometimes some of the things that you've described, they'll affect men, but in a very less way, you
Yes.
know? Yeah.
And in also many cases where the female is the alcoholic,
Yes.
the husband will leave,
Oh, yeah.
or you'll be chased. Go back to your family, your parents.
Exactly, yeah.
You'll be chased. Yet, when the alcoholic is male, if I use my own case, I remember my late mom once asked my wife, can I get you a house somewhere? Because this guy is not working, he's a mess. Even the little money you're getting, he comes, he demands
Drinking
it
it,
to
yes.
go and drink. It's just a mess.
Yes.
Can I just get, he's my son, he's my
But-
firstborn, but I understand, you're now also my daughter.
Exactly.
And those are my grandkids.
Yes.
And I know my son. And she said that the marriage we said for better or for worse.
Oh.
You see? But
Big
if it
shout
was
out to
opposite,
her. If it was opposite,
Yes.
let's ask you, David.
yeah?
Would you have said the same?
No, my wife, no. That one was
Even
happy.
after she has done it for
That
her.
one
Okay,
was
now,
happy.
okay,
We've
look
come too far.
at where you are now.
Yes.
I really still hope, I'm hoping for a yes.
Yes.
If, for some strange reason, you found that your wife is an alcoholic right now,
Yes.
would you still leave her even now?
No.
No,
No,
thank
no,
you. Thank
no,
you for that answer.
no.
Thank you.
Yes. I would. But in many cases,
In many cases, the guy will
the
leave.
men do.
Yeah.
But the wife will stick there through and through, and she's like Malcolm in the middle,
Yes.
because the husband is messing up.
Yes.
She's trying to cover up from the employer, from the friends, from the family,
Cleaning
etc.,
up the
from the
messes.
kids.
Yes.
You see, the husband is blaming her sometimes for all his problems,
Of course.
amongst other people and
Yes.
things he's blaming. The kids are wondering, Mom, why can't we just go?
Why are you why are you still
Why
here?
are we here?
Please, we should have
Yeah.
gone like yesterday.
Yeah, this guy is a mess.
Yeah.
You see? But so she's trying to balance everybody.
Yeah.
You see? But the guy will just say bye-bye.
This is not working for me, I
women
can't
are
do it.
many.
Yeah.
I did not opt in for this. See you. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yes.
so that's good to know.
Yeah.
Not that it makes any difference because, I mean, if you're already an alcoholic, unless you do get help, then, there's nothing you can do. But it's good to understand that that's how the domestic violence link comes in.
And even you're finding cases, you are sober because you're not permanently drunk.
Yes.
You want to have intimate relations with this fellow.
Yeah.
This fellow, the picture he has in his mind, he doesn't trust.
He doesn't, yeah.
He doesn't trust. And he's not that guy who's going to say, let's use a CD or whatever.
No.
So that, again, is bringing issues. Or he now gets someone who is seeing on the side.
Yeah.
And it's very easy because, let's say the guy is drinking, socially or whatever. He's out somewhere.
Yeah.
And the barmaid, I don't know why a lot of barmaids are called Caro. So
Aye.
Caro will, Caro will ask him, Baba so and so, hey, what is wrong today? And he said, no, it's okay. After 3
response.
beers, Baba, so what is happening? You're not your usual self.
Yeah.
Niyo bibi yangu. And it starts from there.
Yeah.
So somebody else is always there to step in,
To give him that shoulder
gap.
to cry on, Yeah.
okay? Then she's suspecting or finds out, or she's seeing this guy is showing no interest in her, and she comes to a wrong conclusion.
Yes.
So that again leads to maybe her hitting the fellow or an altercation, which he then responds with violence.
Violence
There's
again.
so many
There's so many ways that it can actually come, yeah.
Yes.
And to be honest, when you look at all those ways, the major contributing factor is actually the alcohol.
It's the alcohol.
It's the alcohol.
It's the alcohol.
Yeah,
It's the alcohol. And in this case, the disease.
The disease. And you know
Yes.
what? Now that you mentioned it's a disease, when we have diseases, we have scientists and researchers who actually go and look for cures for the disease. In your research and in your experience, have you heard of any such thing, a cure, a drug, as a solution for alcoholism? Is it something being worked on?
It's being looked for.
Because it would sell.
And many, yeah, it would. Many, well, the first year or two after I left rehab, I always was praying that they find it. So that I can swallow it, be cured, and so that I can go back to drinking, but drinking safely.
Look at that. I thought that you wanted to be cured so that you don't drink. No.
But then many
it's
years
so that you
later,
go and do it safely.
Many years later, I got to the point, even if they found a cure,
no.
that I could now, you see, what is alcoholism? It's simply, I cannot drink safely.
Yeah,
and why? I've lost the power to control. Yeah. Once I drink, if this was alcohol, it will then determine, do I just take a sip, finish the glass, finish the crate, stay here for a month? I have no control over that. And it's because of some genetic way I process alcohol different from the people who are able to control. That's why an alcoholic and a drunkard are not the same thing.
Exactly.
Person. The symptoms are very similar. You see?
Yes.
But an alcoholic, a drunkard is just somebody who drinks for.
Yeah.
You know, he'll roll his car, sit down there with a suit, look at the pavement, look at his car and say, if this is what 10 beers does, from today I'll drink 8 or 5 or none.
Yes.
No counselor, no, instant decision because he still has control.
Yes.
Okay? And that's why you see a non-drinker can go to social drinking, can go to heavy drinking. Heavy drinker is also not an alcoholic, but people look at the quantity.
Yeah, and
so somebody drinks 750 ml Mzinga every day, or whiskey or whatever spirits.
Yeah.
And we then look, you see, when you ask people to describe or explain what is alcoholism, some explain by quantity, some explain by frequency, etc.
Yes.
But it is not that, because the fellow could just be a heavy drinker. He has very high tolerance for ethanol, just like some people have very little tolerance
Yes.
for ethanol.
So a little amount,
yes,
and they are drunk.
and bad effects, nausea, and what. So when you ask somebody, I don't drink, it's not because they didn't try.
No.
They tried, but as we say in Kiswahili, mwili likata.
Mwili likata. Kidogo inafanya such a big effect.
Yeah, no tolerance, literally.
Tolerance, yeah.
Then others have high tolerance,
yes.
which the effects will then come later, you know, on your organs,
exactly.
etc. But not because you are not able to control, so you can't work, you can't, you know, carry out your responsibilities and so on and so forth. Then you get to the drunkard.
Yes.
Then you get to the border. Whereas they sang long ago, to endelea ama tusiendelee. So once you cross that border into addiction, into alcoholism, you can never come back to the country of controlled drinking. You've been deported.
Yeah,
you see? But the drunkard can go back to heavy drinking, can go back to social drinking, can go back to non-drinking. The non-drinker, all these people can change
they can keep
categories.
Their stations and categories.
Yes.
But
because they have control.
Yes.
But that border, once you cross, and that's why we say once an addict, in this case alcoholic, always an alcoholic, which people misconstrue to mean you can never stop. No, it means you can drink, yes, but you can never drink safely again. 99.9% of the time you drink, you will end up in a mess. And the only way out is to quit. It is not you, it is not willpower. Willpower is a very common example people give. I'm in a WhatsApp group right now. They are trying to raise money for rehab.
Okay.
So one guy just looked at the amount of money which has been raised, vis-a-vis the amount needed, vis-a-vis the number of people in the group, including those abroad, and said they will need another 90-something days at this rate to get what they need. So is there the doctor in the rehab they can talk to give credit for that period they pay slowly? Or why can't this bugger, and using, and you know, they use the stronger word, just between us, get him a job and he stops drinking?
Will that be
no, because they don't understand.
They don't understand.
That is why you reason.
Yeah, that's how, those are the kind alcoholic. Of thoughts that you reason with an alcoholic, not knowing that that is not going to help.
It's not going to help. What you were talking about earlier, before that show, the codependency.
Before we get that,
yes,
I don't want us to lose that thought of whether you would take the drug or not. Is there a cure? Is there any progress being made in that end? Where if you're an alcoholic and you're not able to drink safely, if you take this drug every day for the rest of your life or whatever,
they're trying to find the specific gene, or genes, which leads to this.
Alcoholism.
That's why in the description, a proper description, you start is a disease of genetic origin. After first looking, does it fit criteria for a disease? And then it is progressive.
Okay.
So you start at some point, people who know will notice from symptoms and signs and start saying, this fellow,
he's heading down.
I think we need
know this journey.
Yes. But usually people don't know until it's full blown.
Exactly.
You know, the symptoms are obvious. Even to my daughter in standard 7, who is now a full grown woman, once asked me, "Daddy, why can't you just stop drinking?"
Yeah, although she could tell there's a problem.
So she could tell what is the problem, drinking, and the solution, stop.
Stop.
And she's in standard 7 or 6 at that time.
And you know that is the number one solution so far. That's stop.
Yes.
But the thing is that people also don't understand. I understand that once you start, you can't stop because your body, now it's basically what you told us last time, that the ethanol now is what controls you and keeps asking for more.
Yes.
But another thing that we didn't talk about a lot, which is I think more psychological, is that urge to want to. Because if you know that this is poison, you won't drink it. You know, if I put for you a drop of poison there, you will avoid the water completely. But what is it then that makes you want that urge, you know, that desire to drink? What is it that causes it? Is it physical or psychological?
Now, in addiction specifically, most of them, weed, I don't think there's physical addiction. There's the psychological and the physical.
Yes.
So when we say your brain has altered, not your brain, your brain actually has altered, your reality.
Yes.
That's for the psychological. So, as you are saying, And my poison,
Yeah.
because to me now, as an addict, this is poison.
It's poison.
But my poison has now turned out to be my medicine.
At the same time.
Because
it's such a conflict.
if I do not have enough poison in my system, my brain has now altered. My cells are now used to operating with high levels of ethanol, bracket, whatever other drug I'm on, heroin, cocaine, etc. Such that when the level goes down, my body starts sending me a message. Just like it will send me a message when you are thirsty,
when you're
just
hungry,
like
oxygen.
when you are hungry.
I mean, sorry, not oxygen, glucose, yeah.
Yeah. Now, hunger and thirst are here under survival DEFCON 5.
Yes.
Well, the longer it stays. So it starts DEFCON 1, you need to drink some water. You know, DEFCON 2, DEFCON 3, DEFCON 5 is I'll not be able to do anything except look for water. And if at that point I do not find water, I will die.
Yes.
Same with food. Now the brain has put the alcohol in the same category.
Exactly.
That if we don't get alcohol shortly, we'll die. So first, just like with hunger, just like with thirst, it will send you signals. Might have a small tremor. You know, you start sweating, your heart starts, but the longer you stay,
the more the effect is pronounced.
The effect is pronounced. Ile what we say kutoa lock. Okay? Literally, I could not think the brain is locked.
Yeah.
Immediately, I flash down half a glass of changa or whatever it is. My hands are steady, my voice is normal, my heart stops palpitating, and there are various withdrawal symptoms. Some people get a combination, some people get one or two, some people get many, including hallucinations.
Yeah.
The brain is confused. And hallucinations are auditory or visual or taste.
Yeah.
So suddenly I drink water, but I'm tasting chicken. Or I'm hearing there's a bus in here somewhere.
And there's no one.
Or somebody's talking. Or I'm seeing.
Or you're seeing some people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is withdrawal. Okay? So the brain gets confused. They're shaking. So you see, this is not somebody pretending. But immediately, you have some alcohol. You are back to normal. And even where you are going to get money for the day to drink, or today my salary has come out, or
judgment comes
suddenly, so your brain literally was locked.
Yeah, it now unlocks.
And your body was also locked. You can't function. Some guys, you'd even, myself included, once or twice when it was very bad, I had to get a straw.
Yeah.
So I'm there, I have no money, I'm at the changa place with an empty glass. Just asking guys, just put for me a drop, so that at least I get to half a glass. Then, so somebody will come and say, give him a glass.
Yeah.
I can't lift the glass.
Yeah, because
I can't lift the glass, and I do not want to spill even a drop.
I know, this is gold.
Yeah. Now you're trying to bring your head like this, your head's also shaking.
Oh, God.
So you find many of us started keeping boxes of straws in our favorite. And even the straw, somebody has to come and put it for you. You see? But immediately you take, you're okay. So you see, it is not pretending.
It's not, and I get now what you mean, because in one, it's poison, but it's also medicine.
Now it becomes my medicine.
So it becomes medicine, but now it's like once you take it now, again it becomes poison. So it keeps like flipping. It's basically playing tricks on you.
So then, that's the physical.
Yeah.
So if we then go to the psychological,
yes.
I'm having emotional pain.
Yes, yes. Which is part of life.
For example, my life is a mess.
Yes.
It's a Monday, 8 a.m. I'm in a bar, touring lock, not in an office. I haven't seen my family in days.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I'm jobless.
Yes.
ETC. Nobody wants to talk to me except the crowd I'm with. This is great pain.
It is.
But I know after that one glass, that pain goes away.
Yeah.
I am seeing how I am going to get in fact, I don't need a job. They're lousy. Yes. Me, I am too sharp.
For the job.
I am starting this ABCD, which within 6 months should be bringing in at least 100K, 200K per month. By the end of the year, I'm an M+. I'm going to build mama house. I'm going to buy my wife a better phone than the one I borrowed. I didn't steal, I borrowed. And it was a useless phone anyway. And as I always say, if you go and sit in a place where alcoholics are drinking. If you want very good business ideas,
That's the
just
place.
go and sit there for 2 hours.
Okay.
With a
You
recorder.
come out with them.
Yes.
Okay.
But the alcohol will never allow you to carry them out.
To fulfill.
Okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes physical pain, including the withdrawal.
Yeah.
I fell down yesterday. I fell off a border. I was hit by a car crossing the road careless. I burnt myself with a cigarette or whatever. 1 or 2 glasses, the pain goes away.
Pain. And no wonder people do tackle alcoholism in that psychological manner where they want you to basically get a way of dealing with your issues.
That is why, for the alcoholic, this now becomes my best friend. So the psychological part, if it wasn't for this, I don't know, I would have killed myself. I don't know how to get through a day.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So this now becomes my best friend. Don't forget, all my problems
are stemming from it.
No, that you know that. But I, as the alcoholic, I'm blaming you if you are my spouse, or my boss, or the weather, or
anything.
Trump, because I like Afghanistanis. Why is it?
Why
or whatever.
is he attacking them?
So we blame people or things. And my last best friend, who sorts me out when I have emotional or physical pain. Anybody trying to, who doesn't judge me by asking why am I in a bar on a Monday at 8 a.m., not in an office, does not judge me and is there for me 24/7. Anybody who comes to take away my last best friend becomes public enemy number 1. Yeah, and who is that? Family, employer, friends. Yes. And that's why family gets so pained. Can't they see everything I've done for them? I had that question from my family. If I had a bob for each time I was asked, I would be a billionaire, not million. You know, after all we've done for you, can't
making
you
you just feel guiltier and guiltier.
You know, and we're trying to help you, and this is how you respond. Yes. No, because you are trying to, and that is the brain saying you're not going to cut off the supply.
And hang on, can this best friend be replaced with another best friend? Or is that just a way of introducing another addiction?
By the time you are there, at that point, okay, it means you've tried everything else.
You have, yeah.
You've been sacked from jobs, you've been what? Maybe spouses have left, etc., kids, blah, blah, blah.
And who has that patience anyway? Who can beat anyway?
And you see, you cannot help what you don't know. That's why we start with families. My program, we work with families first to show them this is what you're dealing with, number 1. Yeah. So that now that you understand how to deal with it, this is how we then go about it. Yeah. And we is you. Because the family is the best support, according to me, to help an addict get sober. Because that is the person who will have the time. Yes. Number 1.
And
for you.
Exactly. They're the person who loves you the most.
They love you. They have a vested interest
in you.
Yes. In you getting sober, etc. Yeah. To the point that they even get sick themselves.
And that's why we're talking about codependency, yeah? They get sick themselves in the process of helping you.
Yes. And then I say, my sickness makes you sick. Yes. What is my sickness? Let's call it drunkenness, not alcoholism. Okay. So I am drunk, I make you drunk. And the family sometimes becomes more drunk than the drunk.
Than the drunk,
you see? Because I would steal phones and somebody traces where I'm staying and gets to the gate, making a ruckus. Today I'm going to this way, I'm going to kill this guy.
Exactly.
Then my wife comes out and asks the guy, what's the problem? Yes. Your husband stole my phone. Now, a logical person would say, hold on, and come and deal with me. Why are you stealing people's phones? Yes. But my wife is asking the guy, why are you shouting, telling the whole neighborhood? Yeah, how much is your phone? I'll even add you 2K extra.
On top.
Come in. Pays the guy and says, next time, come to me. In other words, next time my husband steals your phone or whatever,
leave him alone.
Leave him, you come, I pay you. Is that normal?
It's not normal. And that's what I really, really want us to focus on today, because we're talking about the effects of alcoholism on our society. And to be honest, this is how our society, and even, from society is made up of family. So we're saying that at the family level, we need to investigate that drunkenness which has now come up. When you're trying to hide, when you're trying to cover up? And that's what you're asking me. Who is more drunk?
Yes. Now, if you're the best support and you're drunker than the drunk,
How can you help?
these two blind men.
You two blind men,
Yes.
yeah.
Cliff, gone.
But that's true. I can definitely.
And the sad thing, you'll get ulcers.
Yeah.
You'll get family now. Blood pressure. You'll get strokes.
Yes.
In the period we've done this, we've seen 2 or 3 deaths. Family members, because of stress.
And you yourself, you're leaving. Now, the person they are stressed for is leaving.
Nyama choma, dancing, playing the guitar like me.
You know?
Now, tomorrow, the guy is sober.
Yeah.
After 3 months or whatever.
Yeah.
The guy goes, like I told my family, okay, guys, I'm your father. When I left rehab, I'm sober. Let's get on with life.
Yeah.
Now,
but I have high blood pressure, you know?
Since they were born, they know a drunk guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay? By that time, my firstborn is in campus.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, they're looking at you, including their mother. Who is this?
We don't know. This is a stranger now. He's come back.
The first time we went for a function with Nakada, that time the CEO was Bwana Joseph Kaguthi.
Yes.
So he would carry us in his car. So coming back, roadside, we've been paid. There's potatoes, so you buy.
I know, yeah.
So I get to the house, I'm dropped. So I go in and say, okay, my kids have carried stuff from the car. So I'm telling my wife I bought onions, tomatoes, blah, blah, blah.
She couldn't believe
the amount I was paid per diem, blah, blah, blah. I even went to a cheap hotel to save money when I went to work or to build somebody's hotel. And this is the balance, and this I'm giving you, and this one I'm staying with for. Everybody was just, who's this?
Who is this stranger? Because we don't know this person.
No, this one we don't know.
Yeah. This is a new person.
This is a fellow, when we are discussing things for the family, and he tries to make a comment, the kids are like, hey, Mams, you give that 200 bob, he goes, he drinks.
I know,
yeah,
because
we're discussing serious.
Yeah, let's get him out of our presence, yeah. Now he's bringing change.
Yes. Now, then, the anger comes.
Anger, not relief, eh?
No. First, there's the relief.
Okay.
Then the anger comes. Why? It shows you could do it. Why have you
taken us through so
our
much
whole
turmoil?
Life, now the kids, since we were born. And you just go somewhere for 3 months.
And now you're
and then you come back and you think we're going to be okay with that, and you've messed us since the day we were born. Hang on. You go and Tulia, very good, you are sober.
Leave us alone.
Yeah. And you see, that's a bad program because it only deals with the drinking party, not knowing I am drunk and my sickness makes you sick.
Yeah.
So you cannot treat only one side.
You need to treat both.
There's a program for the family.
Yeah.
There's a program for the person who is the addict. And they run simultaneously.
That's what exactly we are saying.
Yes.
That basically, when you have an alcoholic in the family, don't think you're okay.
Yes. You're not.
You're not okay. You are also sick because of this alcoholic sickness. And therefore, even as you're seeking help for them, seek help for yourself. That's what you're saying. So that you can both recover.
Yes.
Because now what you've basically explained is that the alcoholic has recovered, but now the others, they are still sick.
2 hands.
And they're wondering,
2 hands have oil on. You wash one hand. You wash one hand.
The other one is dirty.
The other one is dirty. The oil will come back.
And now you want to
How will this fellow relapse? Sometimes the family subconsciously will sabotage
his efforts.
Because people have picked roles,
yes.
including the kids, to make up for the slack. I am not contributing.
Yes.
So people take up the slack.
They do.
Now, problem number 1, I'm telling my wife, I'm now sober. Can I have back my trousers?
She's
said,
like,
apana.
I do. I'm the one who does this.
Ngoja kwanza, I've had that before. Easy throw, but they are with me.
I'm holding on.
Yes. There is the issue of I went away. My issues were dealt with. What are my issues? I'm drinking because my mom, my parents loved my brothers. They sent me to India to die, getting useless jobs. How, all
those excuses.
So they're all dealt with. Part of my denial. And I am made to realize I am drinking the way I was drinking because I have no control at a certain point. Why do I have no control? Because I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And that's why we also say alcohol does not cause alcoholism. Because if it did, then everybody who drank it would end up
alcoholic.
Alcoholic.
Yes.
Now, my issues have been dealt with. who has dealt with their issues?
Nobody. In fact,
Yes.
nobody even has made them aware
Yes.
that they have an issue.
Yes.
All along, the issue has been you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay? So suddenly you come back, and as I said, okay, hallelujah, I'm sober, let's get on with life. And then they're saying, okay, now, do you remember that time you did this? It was my birthday. Do you remember that time we were chased from school? Because
Time
do
to
you
settle
remember that
score.
time? So what I call the book of Malipo.
Malipo. Now you're okay.
Now these
Deal
are the
with this.
bills.
Oh my.
We had to shift schools from the school we were because this other one, mom couldn't afford the fees by herself. You are nowhere to be seen. Even you are taking her money. Do you know how many times mom sent you with the fees and then you drink the fees? As we hear you telling the Basa fees will be late, Kumbe mom has given you the fees. Book of Malipo. And
Book of
everyone has
Malipo.
their own book.
I know, everybody.
The spouse
who,
has her book.
Yes,
In
of
my
course.
case, all my 4 kids have their book.
Yeah. Your
because
parents,
nobody
everybody.
dealt with the issue. Then somebody can be saying, I have an opportunity to go abroad. I've got a scholarship.
Yeah.
But if I go, see you at Akufa.
Exactly.
So you become a crutch.
You delay your dreams
Yeah.
and postpone your living.
But at some point, you then end up, the alcoholic becomes a crutch for anything I'm scared to attempt.
Exactly.
I would do this, but
I know. Now it
I
becomes
have
also...
to look after. There were people who would get money from my late mom.
Yes.
Because of shady places where I'm drinking. And so somebody goes and tells my mom, do you know where we found your son? That place people are killed. It's a hideout for gangsters, blah, blah, blah. In fact, then he had a bill of 5,000. I had to pay. Oh, my son, you've done very well. How much did you pay? 5. Okay, here's your 5. Here's another 5 on top.
For thanking you.
And every week, be picking 10K just so that you can be there and keep an eye. This guy doesn't want you sober.
Yeah.
He's earning from your continued drinking. And there are so many ways people benefit, including in families. I am firstborn, you might find siblings are taking over. So when I'm back, I want my position.
And they're like, no.
We are
to
used
Mekalia. I mean,
this,
now that while you are away.
Yes, while you
we
are
took
away.
over. You know what, David? We need to give a parting shot, and I want your parting shot to be directed not at the alcoholic, but at the people who are living with the alcoholic. What should they do? Let them forget about the alcoholic for a while. And them as society or as the family and the friends and the loved ones. Should they contact you? How should they reach out to you? Give your contacts? Yeah.
Here again, I'll say that camera. Here
Yes,
again,
that
I will
camera.
say, for the female specifically,
Yes.
alcoholic, to the family members. You see, when they call and reach out and somebody calls me and I say, I need to see you first, they say, I'm not the one with the problem. You are the one with the problem. First, 1, you are the best support. 2, you can't support what you don't know. 3, and equally important, my sickness has made you sick. So we are starting with you first to understand what are you dealing with, how to go about it, how it has made you sick, what is your program. We come up with a plan for your person, and then we see them last. When we have a plan which the family has agreed to, because you are the one running the plan. So you do not hide your alcoholic. They will die. They will die.
Yeah.
And this is what I always say. You will suffer, or tomorrow the guy will get sober, the person will get sober, and you are left with all the problems, which maybe are not reversible. Maybe you end up with ulcers, you had a stroke, not reversible. Tomorrow, like me, the guy comes out and says, okay, I'm sober, let's get on with it. And so reach out today.
Exactly. You're the one who needs the help. Thank you so much, David. It's such a pleasure. Remember, alcoholism has affected you, not you, the alcoholic, but you, the person very close to the alcoholic. You're the one who needs help. So please, let's get the help from that angle. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that it has been beneficial, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.